everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And today we're going to be continuing Bleach Legacy, What If Superman Wasn't Bleach, Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Where we last left off with our series, we followed along with Ichigo and Clark Kurosaki, two stepbrothers, one born of this world and the other one from a world long since lost. The two coming together and accepting their roles in this world, along with the power and responsibilities that come with that. The two would work together to defeat the Hollow that had killed their mother years ago. The both of them finally able to gain closure from that dark point in their lives and continuing to move forward, one as the hero of another world and the other as the substitute Soul Reaper. However, things will only continue to get crazy as new and more powerful foes will begin to make their presence known. How will the two brothers combat these new and impressive enemies? And will they be able to save and care for those close to them? Follow along as we now continue today's story. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. For Ichigo and for Clark, between being, a superhero, if you want to call him that, and the substitute Soul Reaper, there was never a lack of excitement during these times. For one, there was that time where a popular TV star and spirit medium named Don Kakanji accidentally transformed a spirit into a hollow during an exorcism, forcing Ichigo and Clark to have to clean up his mess. Also, there was other issues going on around Kurakura Town, as there was always a never-ending battle against the Hollows of sorts. And, having his brother by his side, Ichigo and Clark did their best whenever these situations came up. However, recently, something had been happening. There were calls for Hollow disturbances, yet whenever they went to go and fight them, they weren't there. Of course, Rukia thought that there was something wrong with her Hollow tracker, which was disguised to look like a regular cell phone. Ichigo was getting annoyed about everything, and Clark, he was more or less passive-aggressive towards it all. I mean, better to be safe than sorry. However, Clark could tell that Ichigo had it. He didn't like going around on some wild goose chase. And for any spirit that they did find, they could never tell what actually happened, just that for some reason they were being attacked by a monster and then suddenly the monster was gone. Well, it didn't take long for the person responsible to make their presence known. Meet a fellow classmate of Ichigo and Clark's, Uryu Ishida. To many, he seemed ordinary, a bookworm, someone who was quiet into themselves. However, Uryu did not waste any time making his presence known to the likes of Ichigo, Clark, and Rukia. It started one day when Rukia had yet again gotten another message that a Hollow had appeared. And once again, Ichigo and Clark prepared for battle, only to find that there was no one there. It was then that Uryu would appear behind the trio. I gotta say, if that's how long it takes you guys to get here, then you shouldn't bother fighting against the Hollows. You'll just end up letting everyone down. It's you. Ichigo Kurosaki. Clark Kurosaki. So, you've been that weird bird or plane thing that Lois has been going on and on about in the school paper. Can't say I'm surprised. And you, Rukia, Soul Reaper. But how do you... Oh, come on. I'm not as stupid as everyone else. Uryu would take his glasses off. Tell me, do I look any different to you? No, not really. You might have everyone else fooled around here, but I'm not one of them. I would suggest you keep moving around like a blur, because chances are I won't be the only insightful person who figures out who and what you truly are. Whatever you are, you're not human, that's for sure. What do you want? Ichigo asked. Just making a declaration as your superior. My superior? That's right. I am a Quincy. And to me, Soul Reapers are my enemy. Or maybe I should put it in a way that you can understand. You, Ichigo Kurosaki. You are my enemy. Uryu would vanish just as quickly as he arrived. And, well, safe to say, they knew they had a situation on their hands. He knew all of their secret identities, although he didn't seem too keen on exploiting or exposing them for the most part. But still, they knew they had to get to the bottom of this. Ichigo wasn't all that tactful, but Clark decided that he would meet with him one-on-one to try to gauge the truth. Between the two of them, Clark was the more reserved, the more tactful and gracious one. He was the type of person who could have a intellectual conversation with Uryu, whereas Ichigo was the type of person who would be blunt and to the point. While Ichigo was off searching for Uryu, Clark had already found him on top of the school roof. Didn't take you too long to find me. Impressive. So, what are you? Member of Soul Society, or... Well, if you already know that I'm none of this world, there's no point in hiding it. Would you believe me if I told you I was from another planet? Another planet? You're saying that there are aliens now? More or less. Well, I would believe you, because I've encountered even extraterrestrial beings on this world. Wait, you have? Come on, Clark, give me some credit. You don't think that you're the only inhabitant on this world that's from a place beyond the stars? Granted, I don't meet them all that frequently. They're either really good at disguising themselves or they're few in number. And I haven't met one in a while, so safe to say it's still a rarity every time it happens. What's your planet? My planet was Krypton. I've heard about that in passing. It was said that that planet was destroyed a long time ago. I take it you're one of the last survivors? Are there others like you on this planet? As far as I know, I'm the only one that's here. I can't tell if anyone else made it to any other parts of the world. I'd have no way of knowing that. So for now, it's just me. I see. Clark would then go on to explain everything that happened. How Ichigo got caught up with Rukia, how he became a Soul Reaper, and what they had been doing since then. In the meantime, Rukia had met with Urahara at his shop to try to get some information about the Quincy's. Urahara would explain that the Quincy's were a group of humans who existed a long time ago. They were a group that were capable of using spiritual energy, and they fought against the Hollows. The Quincy's and the Soul Reapers were both mortal enemies, simply because of their disagreement over how to deal with the Hollows. The Quincy's believed in total annihilation. After all, the Hollows were evil spirits that devoured the spirits of humans and good spirit souls alike, without any rhyme or care. Whereas the Soul Reapers, using their Zanpakutos, toes, would try to cleanse the hollow soul and allow it to pass through the Soul Society. It was around 200 years ago when a great catastrophe occurred, resulting in the Quincy's complete and utter destruction, meaning that for anyone that was a Quincy, and for any that survived, they would be far and few between. And it must have been something else for them to run into one, especially one so young. In the meantime, Ichigo would eventually track down where Clark was, finding him on the roof talking to Uryu. Uryu declaring that he was going to have a competition with Ichigo to determine who was truly the best. Clark tried to not let his brother be goaded into a battle, but it was a lot easier said than done since Ichigo was itching for a fight and he was ready to shut him up once and for all. However, this battle would not be between the two of them one-on-one, but rather it would be a test of skill. Uryu had lured 100 hollows into Kurakura Town, and it was going to be a race to see who could defeat the most. Clark would immediately object to this. Are you out of your mind? You unleashed 100 hollows into the city? Are you crazy? No, I'm just calculated. Besides, I know I could wipe them all out no problem. I want to see what he's capable of. What? Ichigo, you can't be serious about this. What, you don't think I could take more out than him? That's not the point. There are over 100 hollows roaming around Kurakura Town. You know, the town where our friends and family live. You're right. You know, that is pretty stupid of you. Sounds to me like you're backing out. Don't try to goad us into a fight, Clark would say. Right now, we need to get rid of all these hollows as quickly as possible. If you want to help your brother, you can. I'll take you both on. It makes no difference. I have to say, you're the first Kryptonian I've ever faced before. So, it'll be interesting to see what you can do. It won't make a difference. There could be 2 of you, 100 of you. Wouldn't matter. Clark was starting to get annoyed with Uryu. Him believing that this was nothing more but a game. There were lives that were at stake here. And he was putting them all in danger for some stupid pride. All the same, it didn't matter. The 3 would race out to deal with the hollows as quickly as they could. And they would have to be quick about it. Because the hollows were making a move. And unfortunately, those that they did care for were in danger. Such as Ichigo and Clark's sister, Karin. She had been coming home from the store when she found herself face to face with a deathly hollow. However, Chad, who had just been in the area, would force himself into the fight and battle against the hollow. In the midst of the battle, while protecting the sister of both Ichigo and Clark, he would develop a power of his own, an ability in his right arm, allowing him to fire off energy blasts. An arm that he dubbed the right arm of the giant. The situation would only continue to worsen in the human world, with the hollows now starting to attack the school. Orihime and Lois would now find themselves in the crosshairs. For Lois, she had been spending more time in the newsprint room while she was trying to develop what tomorrow's story was going to be, and Orihime was there for moral support. However, the 2 girls would get more than what they bargained for as they would find themselves being face to face with the likes of hollows. However, in the midst of them fleeing for their lives, Orihime would actually find herself developing her own powers. And for Lois, at the very least, she was capable of seeing what was happening. Orihime? Lois, what's going on? Your hairpin, they turned into fairies. I don't even know. I have no idea how I'm even able to do this. But what the hell are those things? They look like demons. I don't know. Before the 2 girls even had a chance to react, the fairies would take their positions, forming a defensive barrier to protect the girls and the other students, as well as even assisting in taking out a few of the hollows. The fairies would explain that they were servants to Orihime, and they were at her beck and call. Lois would simply look to Orihime in shock. You have fairies that help you fight against demons? Orihime, are you a Disney princess? A Disney princess? I don't know. I don't really have any wicked stepmothers. I don't have long hair. Well, my hair is pretty long. Not locked in a tower. I wasn't turned into a frog. Um, my parents abandoned me, but I don't think my dad went into a war, so I doubt I'd have to go and disguise myself as a girl. I didn't eat a poisonous apple. Oh, wait, no, there was that rotten apple that I ate for lunch. Oh no, am I gonna pass out? I don't have a Prince Charming to wake me up. Lois, what am I gonna do? I don't know what to do. Wait, do you think you could? I don't think so. Or he may. You know what? Maybe you're not a princess. I'm not a princess? No, I take that back. You are a princess. A sweet, beautiful princess. But right now, we've got to get out of here. With that, the two girls would run for their lives. However, Lois would make sure to pull out her phone. She had to get a camera. I mean, she had to document what was happening here, try to put it in the news somehow. There were multiple points of flashes as the two girls ran for their lives, trying to cover everyone else as they attempted to make their escape. In the meantime, Rukia would arrive back to see what was going on with Ichigo, Clark, and Uryu, and seeing the mess that they had gotten themselves into in the meantime as the hollows only continued to manifest. The Legion would now force the three young men to team up, Ichigo, Uryu, and Clark, all three standing back to back, Clark using his immense strength along with his heat vision, Ichigo swinging around his massive blade, Uryu using the dangling cross that had been tied around his wrist that transformed into an energy bow of light, although it was actually just made up of the reishi, or the spiritual energy, that he was able to conjure. As the three would continue to fight and cover each other's flanks, things only got worse, as from out of the sky, what could only be called the monster among hollows would appear. It was officially called a Menos Grande that had now arrived onto the scene. It was driven to move away towards Ichigo and the others, being called upon by the massive spiritual power that was present in the area. Ichigo had come up with the idea of trying to cut it down at the legs, hoping that if he chopped it down like a tree, he'd eventually be able to take out its head. Although Uryu would simply curse him for coming up with such a stupid idea. But then Clark thought that maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. I mean, if they worked down with the legs, they could probably get it to fall over. Then maybe they could cut it up into as many pieces as possible. Although Uryu would point out that if that big thing actually fell, it would crush a lot of the buildings and the people inside of it. They had no idea what they were going to do. However, Uryu would come up with a plan, and he would get the two to assist him. Together, they would then release a massive amount of spiritual power, and the strain of this power was going to be just enough to leave a powerful mark on the Menos Grande, at least strong enough to drive it back to wherever it came from. They would manage to pull off the combination attack, although it would leave Ichigo winded to say the least, as using that much built-up spiritual power was starting to take an effect on his body. The overexertion of it all was causing him to be strained, and if that excess power wasn't released, it could cause some serious damage. Although thankfully, Uryu would assist in the releasing of his power. While he wanted to try to claim victory this day, he knew that he couldn't. Clark looked back to him angrily. However, Uryu would look to the two as he bowed in apologies. I took things too far. I know that I shouldn't have. I'm really sorry. Sorry doesn't even begin to cover what you've done here, Clark would say, as he grabbed him by the collar. Look, I don't know what your beef is with the Soul Reapers. I don't even know what a Quincy is either. But I do know one thing. Whatever problems or beef you might have, it doesn't mean you drag other people into your mess. A lot of people could have gotten hurt today. People that I really care about. And I'm pretty sure you have people you care about here also. You can't just put everyone else's lives at risk just to fulfill and satisfy your own self. It's selfish and wrong. I get that. I'm sorry. Don't ever pull a stunt like that again. Or next time I won't be so lenient. Off in the distance, multiple camera shots were being taken. Lois trying to get pictures of that giant demon, whatever it was that was in the sky. And then there was, Rukia, Uryu, Ichigo, dressed in black and lying on the ground with a giant sword, and the blue blur. Lois would enhance the photo with her camera as she tried to get better pics. Although, when she looked again, there was no picture of the demon anywhere. And she couldn't see Ichigo in the picture either. She could only see Rukia, Uryu, and the blue guy. That blue-red streak. The hero. The guy of Kurakura Town. Everyone thought that it was just some weird bird or plane image in the sky. No, he was real. Wait a second. As the day would persist, Lois would go back home. After doing so, she would put together some pictures. She looked through her old dresser drawer. She took out a newspaper. She began to just draw with a Sharpie. She had one clear picture of the big blue Boy Scout, but she wanted to see something. If I change his hair like this, yeah. She took her Sharpie and moved it around. And some glasses like this, a necktie, broad slumping shoulders. After doodling, she held up the now drawn-on picture and the picture of an old friend. I know who I saw was Ichigo, and it can't be a coincidence. As she looked at the two photos, it all made sense to her. Clark. So, you're the blue blur. But what could all of this mean? There were demons in Kurakura Town? Monsters? Ichigo, Uryu, Rukia, Clark? All four of them. Why were they all connected? Who were they really? Lois would rub her chin. One way or another, she would uncover the truth. In the meantime, under the cover of night, two individuals would arrive to Kurakura Town. A young man with spiky red hair, strewn with tattoos on his forehead. Another one, tall, long flowing black hair, dressed in the robes of a captain. Oh man, can't believe she's causing all of this ruckus. So, how do you want to proceed, Captain Kuchiki? We'll monitor the situation for now. When she makes her presence known, then we'll make her move. We've placated to her whims for long enough. It's time to bring Rukia Kuchiki back to the Soul Society. This concludes Bleach Legacy, What If Superman Wasn't Bleach, Season 1, Part 5. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video, as we will be doing Part 6, which will be the Season 1 finale for Bleach Legacy, What If Superman Wasn't Bleach. But anyway, that's going to conclude today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.